Why is depression bad for your health?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, first of all, it's not bad for your health if it's used to replenish. Prolonged, which is negotiable, what does that mean? Prolonged state of depression means there's inertia. So inertia brings a form of anxiety. If I gotta go, if I'm supposed to go plant food to eat, or I'm supposed to go get water to drink, which is basic. Let's forget society and just imagine a simple context, right? And I don't do that, I'm gonna be anxious. So inertia, if it's not used to repose and rest and replenish, but inertia prolonged becomes a source of anxiety. Because I'm not doing basic things that I need to survive, so now my life becomes in a form of jeopardized. Just like the person who decides to do a headstand on a cross bike driving in the middle of the canyons. His life is in jeopardy. So doesn't he get a rush from the fact that death can happen at any second? Well, the same thing happens for the person who's in a so-called state of prolonged depression, where the anxiety of his life is in jeopardy. So what do we find in those two cases? That person needs to get fucking high on death is upon me. Okay, so now if we focus on the person with depression, well, so that's what I'm trying to say. Prolonged inertia, there's no motion. Nothing moves. So if nothing moves, your body starts to break down. There's no circulation. Circulation requires a minimal amount of motion. You've minimized the circulation. So inertia means we stop. Yeah, but you're alive. If you want to digest food, there needs to be a basic movement. If you want your cell to replenish, you need a basic movement. Now you stopped all motion. If you want to survive against adversity, you need some kind of activity so that your muscles don't just dissolve. So your perpetual state of depression is making you weaker and weaker and weaker, which is making you more susceptible to everything, which is increasing anxiety, which is going to get you fucking high. And that anxiety is going to be used as a fuel to stimulate mental fantasies, but they're just dark. Here, I'm going to be God. Here, I'm going to die. I'm going to kill myself. But who is at the center? Some form of I. It's absolutely fucking narcissistic and self-centered. Here or there. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, bad person. I'm just saying, well, it's self-absorbed. Me, 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 me. So if you've ever met a person who's depressed, like badly depressed, this person is so self-centered, just being in their seat, they just suck everything from you. Everything is, and no matter what you do, it never starts. And if you've ever been next to a person who's the greatest thing that's ever lived, they suck everything from you because you are there to worship them. What's the difference? That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is full of light, and this is full of darkness. It comes from the same fucking place. I have no value. I have nothing moving me. Nothing moves me, really, because life doesn't pass through me to move me. This is so deep, yet not so deep. So I have to compensate. Something needs to drive me. And if the fear of death isn't the greatest driver, so this person who's in a state of depression, well, I don't know if you know, that's fuel. You just don't see it as fuel because there's no external action if you compare to a superhero here. Internally there's action. There's a form of motion. So the person feels some kind of life circulating in them, but technically they don't have anything circulating if it wasn't for that acidity, generated not by necessarily inertia, but prolonged state of inertia, which puts your system in a state of fear because you may die. If you don't, listen, I'm supposed to sleep here. I got a couple of hours before the mosquitoes start to attack. I ain't moving now, the mosquitoes start to attack, and I still don't move. Now the fucking bugs start to come, now the snakes come, now the scorpions come, now these creatures want to eat me, and I ain't moving. What's gonna happen? Death is upon me. Why? Because I'm not taking any action due to some kind of state of mind that's in an inertia. So what? When you're living this and everybody's fucking eating off of you, aren't you gonna be living a fucking high of some sort? But it's dark. Inertia is dark. And it comes then with dark thoughts that are considered, there's like, these are bad thoughts. Yeah, but the person who thinks they're God, it's not a bad thought. Nicki Minaj, she's our greatest role model. This person thinks she's the greatest thing that's ever existed since the beginning of time. No, this is exactly how it should be. This is what I'm trying to tell you, and I've said this from the start. Modern society wants to take this, the maniacal expression of the fundamental disease of I have no value. They want, this is health. A person in action that does things. She's insane. I have nothing against her. I don't know her, right? But this person thinks she's the greatest thing that's ever existed. Well, with all due respect, that is not reality. A cloud passing is greater than her. The wind blowing is greater, and that means it's bigger. Okay? The lake, bigger than her, greater than her. So it's a lie. It's an illusion. So our modern world wants to promote that as the symbol of health, and this as, this is bad. What I'm trying to tell you is that, well, this is the same. These are two sides of the same coin. This one looks amazing because we've promoted it as amazing, but if you're saying, you're like, these are insane people. Look, what is this person? They're entertaining. That's what they are. I don't know if that person's entertaining. Ain't nobody want to hang out with that person because that person's boring as fuck. Because everything that's going on is happening in their minds in silence. If you would go in their minds and you would go into their stories that they tell themselves and the worlds they create and what they generate, this person does it outside, inside, you'd be like, this is a very creative, entertaining person. And how they kill you and like it's like a horror movie. It's called dark. This is evil. This is okay. And we take this person out of here and ship him over there. Because this is good. Now, okay, she's kind of exaggerating. I'm like, no. This is a spectrum. This is a polarity. And both come from the same place. Something is fundamentally missing in the human being on the left side or on the right side. Nobody wants to talk about it because to talk about it would imply having a greater sense of how things operate, and people want nothing to do with the reality because they're scared fuckless of it, because it means that they are not in control and they are not the most supreme thing that's ever existed since the beginning of time. And in both sides here, these people are the greatest thing that's ever existed in time. Here, there's nothing greater than me, and here, there's nothing more shit than me, which means they're the same. The greatest. The greatest great, the greatest shit. Keyword, I am great. Nobody suffers as much as me. So what does that say? That person is totally shielded, this one also, from reality. Okay. Well, what pushes a person to do that? There's something fundamentally missing. So now I have to do something to feed, to have a form of movement, because there's not a natural movement. An effortless movement, because life itself is moving me. I now have to generate. But what is I? That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a construct. Now this is deep. Not really. This is my new thing today.